this is Editing KJ with a quick note that this episode was recorded before the WGA strike and the SAG-AFTRA strikes were resolved, and in some cases possibly before the strikes began. We're super happy to be back, so please enjoy this episode. My name is KJ, and you're listening to the Supernatural Opinions podcast, where some things in this world are supernatural. My pronouns are she, they, and this is the podcast where I talk to my fellow Supernatural fans about Supernatural, and we share our supernatural opinions. Today, I'm being joined by my guests Sandra and Carly from Idling in the Impala. Carly, do you want to start off by introducing yourself, pronouns, and how long you've been listening to Supernatural, and how long you've been podcasting with Supernatural, since that's the thing that y'all do?
Yeah, no problem. So I'm Carly. My pronouns are they, them.
It's Ed and KJ here, and as you know, we are pretty far behind on our recording to production schedule. So it's been almost a year since we recorded this episode. And throughout this episode, we refer to Kasey as Carly. Their name is Kasey. Things change. Time has passed, but please know we do mean Kasey. And go forth and enjoy this episode with that knowledge.
I don't run shit, but I co-host the Idling in the Impala podcast with Sandra. We've been podcasting for about 18 months, 19 months now.
Yep.
And I've been watching Supernatural since maybe like 2019. So I've seen the whole show. I've seen right to the end and stuff. I'm in the middle of a rewatch. But yeah, I'm still relatively new in terms of people who've been watching since like 05.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah, I also had to start in 05 because I was not old enough. So
yeah, I was like 13 in 14. I would have been 14 in 05. And also I'm in the UK. We didn't get Supernatural until like years afterwards.
Yeah, you had to wait for it to be distributed internationally. So
yeah, and then it was on like one channel, like 1 a.m. Like it was not accessible.
Sandra, how about you?
Well, I feel ancient now, but yeah, my name's Sandra. I go by she, her. I'm a fanfic writer for Supernatural and co-host and co-creator of Idling in the Impala podcast. We talk about Supernatural and fan fiction and, all of those great things that kind of coincide with just Supernatural in general. If we can think about it and it relates, we try to do an episode about it. And I've been watching since about like early 2019. So I'm one of the late to the game watchers. And then really
before
it kind of just, before the end, it was literally like just, I think right around the time when I had heard that they were going to be starting their final season and had never really I just didn't know anything about the show. So it was just kind of like, saw this thing on Netflix. I don't know if I should let Carly say this part of it because they love to say this part of it. But anyway, how I started watching Supernatural was because of Jared and seeing him on the Netflix screen and knowing that he was on Gilmore Girls, which I had also ended up, I'd watched it on Netflix and they do those recommendations.
Right now, I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah. And but then as time went on watching the show, it probably took go ahead. I'll let you do this part. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna let you go, but if you're gonna fudge the details, I'm
not. No. Go. No.
As time went on.
Yeah.
I'm not coming clean. I'm asking you. As time went on, what she means is she made it all the way to season 6, where Jared had arguably the best body we've ever fucking seen, and then went, no. I like the short one. The short one that never takes his shirt off and has the same hairstyle for 15 seasons. That's my guy. And I'm like, you could abandon Jared and Sam at any point, but that's the point you pick. That one season. It's got the arm and the
I think this episode actually might be some peak Jared content, if I'm being really honest.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with that. No, I think the great thing about our podcast too is that I'm very Dean heavy. Carly is very Sam heavy. So I think, we kind of bring
balance.
Yeah, they keep me accountable, and I It's not about Dean all the time. But yeah, and I think the main thing too was I had seen a lot of I'd seen like a podcast that did Castiel podficking. And I just kind of was like, well, because I'm a Dean / mainly like Dean / reader, Dean / original female character primarily. It's like that's my jam.
Okay.
And I was kind of like,
a lot of those.
and I was kind of like, it would be nice to get a chance to kind of like maybe find that little niche about that. But then Carly said, well, it can't just be all about Dean. They're like, I'm gonna join you and make sure that things stay balanced.
Hold you accountable.
So exciting.
So that's where we are now. Yeah, that's where we are now.
I actually forgot to add in my introduction as well. I also write fanfic and consume it voraciously. And I started off writing Sam reader stuff, like Sandra writes Dean reader.
Also read a lot of those.
Yeah. Well, and then you see, there's not that much Sam and Dean reader insert. So, if you can't find it, create it. So I started writing it. And then I was like, I'm too far into the Wincest camp to keep writing this boring heterosexual stuff. And then I fully jumped ship and now I write Wincest.
So
we don't get a lot of Wincest fic writers on the show. So I'm very excited for you to be here.
Yeah.
When we do our like outros and stuff, when y'all are gonna have to drop your AO3 and other fic handles for people.
Absolutely.
Which one are you gonna pick, Sandra?
I'm going to explain both of them for the ones that I think are relevant. Yeah. So I'm writing them down right now so I remember.
I'm definitely gonna go at least check out the reader insert stuff.
Okay.
At the very least.
Yeah, it's Sam. How could you not?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Anyway, back to what we're actually doing here. Now that we've had, I'm here for a long intro when it's that good. When it's got that much content, it's worth taking the time for it. But we're actually here to recap season 4, episode 9. I know what you did last summer, which originally aired on November 13th, 2008. Back in the day, it's been a minute. November is my favorite month. So it's the month that my birthday is in. So November's just feel extra special for me.
Aww. And fall's a nice time of year. Fall's a nice time of year too.
Yeah. And 13's a good number for me. I like 13.
It's all coming up, KJ.
Yeah. That title is a reference to the 1997 movie I Know What You Did Last Summer with the truly star-studded cast. I don't like horror movies at all. I might go back and watch this one at some point because it's like your classic man movie, but it stars Jennifer Love Hewitt, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Ryan Phillippe, and Freddie Prinze Jr. That's a core 4 I would watch.
Oh, Ryan Phillippe is actually from Delaware, which is my state. So fun fact there. I thought I would toss that in there. So have you not watched that movie?
I have not watched that movie. I don't like horror movies at all.
It's not really horror movie. I mean, I'm not a horror movie person either, and I really wouldn't say it's super. It
sounds like it's kind of more in like the campy horror movie.
Yeah, it is more
genre,
campy.
So that might be for me. It sounds really campy, and I'm into things. I'm into all things camp at the moment. So. I mean, Riverdale just ended, so that's where my brain's at. But basically, it's like one of those like they ran over a fisherman. He comes back to kill them a year later. It's based off of a novel from 1973. I mean, they might have named this episode after the novel, but like we already know that like these writers love Jennifer Love Hewitt, so probably not. It's probably the movie.
Okay.
Jennifer Love Hewitt's come up before.
I'm trying to remember. Oh, is it like...
I think it's an asylum in season 1.
Okay.
There's definitely a ghost whisperer reference.
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, there's a ghost whisperer. Yeah. Okay.
For sure. Okay. And I feel like maybe some other references. And like these people love Buffy too. Like there aren't usually Buffy specific references, but like I watched Buffy for the first time like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And I was like, as I was watching, I was like, oh dang. They were just like borrowing stuff left, right.
It's been a while since I watched Buffy, but yeah, I did definitely get the same kind of vibes watching Supernatural, like, feeling a lot of that.
I recommend rewatching it now that you've seen Supernatural.
Okay.
To like really get like, oh yeah, Supernatural is just borrowing shit.
I've heard there's a lot of parallels between like Buffy and Dean. So I think that's a thing that I have to kind of like pay attention to if I watch again. Okay.
I agree.
Okay.
But yeah, this week's episode will contain spoilers. This episode episode may reference previous episodes, but will not contain spoilers for later episodes of Supernatural. It's gonna be hard this one because this is like part one of a two-parter, but we're gonna do our best. And in KJ might have some extra ones.
We're gonna slap tape over Sandra's mouth and be like, no, not the next episode, just this one.
But yeah, this episode was written by Sarah Gamble and directed by Charles Beeson. I don't think we need to talk about Sarah Gamble except to say her previous episode was season 4, episode 2. Are You There, God? It's Me, Dean Winchester. And there's a like really blatant reference to that episode in this episode. And then Charles Beeson was also not a stranger to us, and has only not been here for like one episode because he was last directing on season 4, episode 7 is The Great Pumpkin, Sam Winchester. Interesting, both their like last things are the episode titles that have the Winchester brothers' names in them.
Yeah.
Because not a lot of them do.
Right.
But like, and that was a new thing in season 4 to have as well. Because like before now it's been like whatever the thing that they're referencing is the title, and like they haven't really changed the titles to make them fit really, but this one they did.
Yeah. And I also was gonna say, like Charles Beeson in particular, because I did a little bit of research too. But I had found out that he directed a couple of shows that Eric Kripke had also created and produced sort of after Supernatural. So it was like Revolution and Timeless. He'd done some episodes for that. And I think he's directed 2 of the funniest episodes that Supernatural's ever done. But we won't find out about those until later. So I won't spoil.
Charles Beeson does have some good ones. Episode rating. Who wants to rate this episode first? Usually I throw it to Meredith, but I feel like Meredith hasn't thought about it.
No, I've had an interesting morning.
Let's start with Sandra then. Sandra, what would you like to rate this episode? You may have 5 out of 10 out of stars, out of donuts, whatever makes you happy.
I gave it 8 out of 10 French fries. I thought it was pretty good.
Fries,
yeah, I gave it that.
Carly, how about you?
I'm going to go ahead and give it like 12 out of 10 wet Sam, because that is like peak Sam. Wet Sam.
It is really peak Sam.
This is on. I'm like, I didn't check, but I'm pretty sure this episode made like my top 10 of seasons 1 to 5.
That's really good.
It's a favorite of mine.
I also gave it an 8 out of 10. I think it's mostly set up for the next episode, but I really like it. Like, there's nothing in this episode that I'm like, I'm not enjoying this in some fashion. There's some things that I find slightly uncomfortable, but like they're uncomfortable because of me. Like, they're me things. They're not like show things. We're gonna get to it. Total death count. I was actually not super sure how to count this death count. Sorry, Meredith, did you want to throw a rating in the ring?
Yeah, I just wanted to do it after everyone else. I was gonna give it like an 8 because I like this episode too. I just hesitate to call any episode of any show perfect.
Yeah, that's fair. And I feel like we've had episodes I've enjoyed even more than this one, but like this was high enjoyable. I had a good time watching this one, which isn't always the case even when the episodes are good. Like, they can be like good in like a lot of ways, but like I don't always like enjoy them. But like this one was like, it was fast paced, it kept things moving.
And I thought there was a lot of really pretty imagery in this episode too.
Yeah, it was very well directed.
Yeah,
and the
Sam's
plot, like,
eyes
the sets were
really
gorgeous.
pretty. Sam's eyes were really pretty.
That helps.
Really, they really did. Did do that well, but I think
Actually,
sorry, go ahead.
No, I went and looked it up, and it was my number 2 top episode of like seasons 1 to 5, and it was my number 3 definitive top 10. So I think my 12 out of 10 is bad.
That's really interesting. I don't know if I have my notes up, but we did a bunch of like bonus content for Driver Picks the podcast when they were finishing season 5. They did a bunch of like bonus episodes, and like I had a list of like my like top and least 5 from the Kripke era.
Okay.
I don't think this one made either of those lists. I think it's in the middle, but it's still good.
We've done 4 different top and bottom episodes now.
Yeah.
1 to 5, 6 to 10, and 11 to 15, and then a definitive.
I think that's how you gotta like divide them. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, death count this week, I had some conflict, but I think it landed on 5 deaths, bringing our on-screen total to 288, and the on and off-screen total to 1,937 plus.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I always love it when people who are new to the podcast react to the total death count.
Or people who haven't been here in a minute.
So many.
I know.
But yeah, we're getting into the point where like a lot more people who get possessed are getting killed, and it's hard to know. You gotta like really pay attention to be like, are they dead? Are they alive? What's happening with the vessels?
Yeah. So were you counting the demons? Like the demon, like that was.
We don't count the demon. It's if the vessel lives or if the vessel dies. So if the person lives or dies. So like it's become a very case by case basis, because Sam's thing is like 50-50, and the demon knife is like mostly a death sentence. But sometimes they'll pull out an exorcism, and that's usually okay, depending on how good of a condition the body's in. It's getting very complicated at this point this season. Like Sam's thing is really 50-50, and you got to really pay attention to what happens after Sam's done his thing. Like this week, we're also counting angelic deaths like separately on the side, just to see like how many angels are, because like angels have like really like done like, you know, a lot of behind the scenes shit, but like haven't really been in too much trouble until the Winchesters have popped into their lives like full time, and like now they're just kind of like dropping. But so far this week, no members of the heavenly host that we're aware of have died, although we did hear that they're losing the apocalypse, so we should be prepared in the coming episodes to get some numbers. Cass wasn't here long enough to give us a status report, but it would be really helpful to me personally if they asked Cass directly every once in a while.
How many?
Hello, can we have a figure, please?
Yeah, I thought this is going to be a much easier stat to upkeep. It's become very difficult. But we're going to get into the recap. And yeah, Sandra and Carly, you haven't really been here before, but like just feel free to like pop in with your thoughts as I'm going. Otherwise, I will just keep talking.
I have many notes for this.
Feel free
this
to
is the only bit I prepared for.
We start with Anna, who's in the Connor Beverly Behavioral Medicine Center, and she's trying to warn people about something. I've never been an Anna fan, but August, from Saving People Queering Things, loves Anna. So I love August. So I'm going into this episode with a new appreciation for Anna. And I will admit that Julie McNiven is absolutely gorgeous. No doubts about that.
Oh yeah, I actually used her face as a model for one of the character drawings.
She's kind of gorgeous.
I love her face. It's so pretty.
And I'm going to try to appreciate her character more this time around. That's kind of like my goal. Like, I feel like I didn't appreciate Bella before, and then like going in and watching a season like with Bella, appreciating her more. Bella ended up being one of my favorite characters in season 3 this time around. I'm here to appreciate Anna this time around.
Such a big crush on Bella from this one.
Yeah.
Anna claims that the end is coming, the apocalypse, and her info is basically what we know. The 66 seals, Lilith, Lucifer, everything the cast has told Ash/Jean in previous episodes, but Anna somehow knows it, which she shouldn't. Anna like zones out a little bit. She hears something that like other people can't hear, and she confirms to her psychiatrist that there are like 600 seals and only 66 of them need to be broken, and there's no way of knowing which ones they'll break, and the angels are losing and everyone's gonna die, which is, you know, great news.
Yay!
We're doing great.
I had a small issue with this scene though that I never clocked any of the other times I've watched this. It's a bit, I think it's the way it starts off. You know, she's kind of like just vacantly staring off.
Yeah, and then she's like really coherent suddenly.
Yeah, but it's that vacant stare, and then the way she like cocks her head and stares off again when she's listening is I don't know. It feels like all the really gross stereotypes, like drooling mental patients. I don't know. I tried really hard when I was watching it to be like, you don't need to know that down. You don't need to know that down. And then I was like, I have to note this down because it makes me feel some kind of way.
The second one, when she's listening, like in the middle of their conversation, isn't so bad. But the opening one is very much like she looks like she's like drugged up on it. Yeah, she looks like she's she's on too many antipsychotics, and she like it looks like she can barely keep her eyes open. It is a little bit much. I agree.
Yeah.
The second one's better because it's clearly like she's hearing something that other people can't hear. Like she's listening versus being like zonked out like she is in the opening shot. I agree.
Yeah, good. I'm glad I wrote it down.
Not a great look. The show is chronically mid 2000s in so many ways.
Oh
yeah.
This season's been better. Season 3 was very chronically like 2007. Season 4 has been better, but it can still have its moments that it should have maybe considered wouldn't age well, but hard to tell. It's hard to look back on something with a 2023 lens sometimes. Like
and it also seems a lot to ask.
It wasn't that long ago, but like in many ways it was a long fucking time ago.
It also seems a bit much to ask Supernatural to not be
nuanced or handle anything sensitively. That's true. A nurse comes in to give Anna meds. I'm assuming this is supposed to be a nurse because, like, you know, I don't want to be like, oh, like boys can't be nurses, because that's just incorrect. But also, like, he doesn't feel like he's got medical knowledge. Like, nothing about his portrayal of his character is giving me medical knowledge vibes. But like, he has to be a nurse because like a nurse or a doctor would bring meds, and like it wouldn't be like a PSW or anything like that. Like, anyway, it's not important. But this nurse is like a big guy, and he comes in to give Anna meds, and she freaks out because he's actually a demon, and she can tell by his face, which is kind of like what Dean could do when he was like coming up on the end of his demon deal at the end of season 3. And then she does a very Sam like telekinesis with the dresser to like knock him out and escape.
Yeah. I think you get a lot of like Psychic Kid vibes. Like you're supposed to get that, I think, off of her right away.
And then it isn't that.
Yeah.
But it could me because in this episode we actually don't find out what it is.
Mhm.
We just know Anna's like weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sam and Dean are hustling at pool, and like I put hustling in all caps. Sam's pretending to be absolutely hammered, and he's lost 2 games, and so he's supposed to like bet a big amount of like $500, and then turn around on the 3rd game and be stone cold sober. But he sees Ruby at the bar, and he just abandons the game and loses their $500. So not only did he not make money, but he's now they're now $700 each. The 2 previous games were like $100 each.
Yeah, I have notes for this one. I have notes. He is an absolute baby. He's a baby when he's drunk, and he's a baby when he's fake drunk as well. He is just the cutest little puppy.
Really good fake drunk. He was very cute.
Yes. His bangs in that scene, just in that one scene, because they're dodgy in quite a lot of this episode, but in that one scene, fucking top-notch bangs. And also, when he like
top-notch
top-notch bangs. When he makes the break and he's still kind of pretending to be drunk, and he gives that really like dopey smile, like, "Oh, did I do something good?" I'm like, "Fucking baby."
He was so cute. This is such a treat for me to have like a fellow Sam stand here to like appreciate Sam and its fullest. This is very good for me. This is very good for my energy.
Good. I have lots of notes on Sam.
A good time. Fellow like other past and future guests take notes. This is the energy I want around Sam.
Yes, he is baby.
I know the scene is your babies, but Sam's mine.
Just seeing them together, like hustling, and I like that way that Sam and Dean were talking together without talking. Like, yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Remember how opposed to hustling Sam was, like in season 1? Like, he's fully participating. This is fully Sam hustling in this episode. Like, Sam is doing the hustling.
He's doing well.
It actually, that scene really surprised me that Sam like walks off and Dean doesn't just like pick up the money. He just picks up his beer and follows his brother. And I'm like, just take the 500, dude. It's right there.
And Sam says, keep the money. And Dean goes, keep the money.
He didn't mean that.
Yeah. Doesn't take the money. I think this is so dangerous. Like, thank God Sam and Dean are both huge dudes, because like this is so dangerous. Like, you're so liable to get beat to shit for doing something like this. Like, like this other guy they're hustling with is another big guy too, and like you're intentionally tricking them. They're gonna know that you tricked them on purpose, that they got hustled. They're gonna be pissed about it.
Honestly, their confidence is probably partly due to the fact that they're big guys.
Yeah, like 2 women couldn't pull this off. This would not work. Like, this dude would like commit a serious crime of violence against women if 2 girls tried to pull this same scheme. Like, they're just like very privileged in their large man shape.
It do help to have like a 6'5" brother to just be like, you really want to argue about this though?
Yeah, and like there's 2 of them, so like this dude like gets pissed, like they're gonna, and like they're also good fighters. I mean, you can't really know that until you fight one of them, but like you can just be like, oh, they're large, even if they aren't very skilled at fighting. Like, if they hit you or shove you or like throw you, it's going to hurt. But yeah, Sam abandons the game, and Dean is even more unhappy that the game's been abandoned by the fact that it's been abandoned because Ruby's here. He is not happy to see her.
Sassy Dean and Ruby is always,
oh man, they're
always my job.
They hate each other so much.
Love their dynamic. I want to see that more.
I mean, the last time that he saw Ruby was when he found out that Sam was doing his psychic powers, so like they haven't seen each other since then, so it's not a happy reunion.
No.
But she is here to be like, hey, all of the demons are looking for this Anna Milton chick, and like they want her alive, so like whatever her deal is it's a big deal, and you should probably find her before the demons do. And I wish Dean was more thrilled. I get why he's not thrilled to like do something that Ruby wants to do, but like we're assuming this girl's a human, and like demons are looking for her, so like maybe we should just find her anyways, regardless of where the information came from.
Seems wise.
There's a human girl on the line.
Dean would be like, I will sacrifice at least 5 human girls to fuck this bitch over. It's just like 5 is probably the limit, but he's like, no, I will ignore at least 5 human women before I will let her have an advantage over me.
Usually they're pretty quick to help any humans, regardless of what other shit's going on.
But Ruby can't come.
Ruby's not invited.
She can get her own ride.
She's just here to provide them information. That's it.
She can hitchhike.
Dean, they're in the car, and Sam's confirmed that Anna's a real person. She did go missing from the same hospital that Ruby said, and Dean's like really pissed now that Sam and Ruby are having these like buddy vibes, like they're friendly, and Sam trusts her. He didn't like it, and he like demands some details, and Sam just snaps back with like he'll share his stuff when Dean comes clean about Hal.
Yeah.
I love you, Sam. I love you so much, but like you don't know what happened to Dean Hal. You just know it must be really, really bad. And like Dean said
said last episode, I believe it was, that like it's something that like talking about will not fix, and it's something that is going to live in his head forever. And I'm like, you could just like not force him though.
Yeah, there's a difference. Like it's a traumatic experience versus doing shady things with a demon.
Yeah, we're gonna find out that like Sam's trauma is pretty intense from when Dean died, but like let's not like be like, oh, I'm not gonna share my trauma until you share your trauma. Like let's not put conditions on each other sharing their traumas.
Yeah. Yes, but then they wouldn't be we need therapy with us.
Yeah.
You know, like that's the whole thing. And also, as like blunt as that line is, Sam has the best brooding face in the car.
Oh yeah, he
sat
looks
there
very,
and he's
very
all, like,
good.
All mood and jawline and stuff. Great.
Yeah, he has to brood really hard because even though he's not going to share his trauma with Dean, we're going to find out about it as the audience. Anyways, like we don't get the option. We are definitely finding out about it, whether Sam wants us to or not. So
have you brooded so hard that all of your experiences like make their way to the screen?
Yeah, you cause a flashback. You cause a flashback for other people to witness.
It's like he can't know, but you can.
We're gonna go back 6 months just because we
Here's
can.
the sex scene.
We're not there yet. We're gonna get there. Sam's in his brown Carhartt jacket, which I love this jacket. I actually looked at purchasing this jacket. It's my favorite Sam jacket. It's like an early season Sam exclusive. He's at the crossroads. He's crying as he digs up the road with his like bare hands. Pro tip: by nature, roads are gonna be pretty hard packed. Use a shovel, babe.
No, he deserves this.
Also, like, he clearly has a shovel because this is supposed to be immediately after Sam has buried Dean. And
he has the car and he has all their stuff. Yeah.
They're also at the gas station that I think is the same gas station for 401. So, like, theoretically, Sam's just buried Dean. He didn't dig that whole grave with his bare hands. He has a shovel.
I think he's just being a little dramatic right now.
He is being fucking dramatic.
If there's anything Sam Winchester knows how to be, it is a fucking drama queen. He's like, no, with my bare hands.
I mean, this is absolutely the most dramatic Sam's been.
Crying so hard you forgot you own a shovel.
This is maybe our first male presenting Crossroads demon, so that's fun. We haven't had a dude show up at a Crossroads before.
Do you think they said no women? Make sure there's a guy this time, like for any particular reason?
I mean, I feel like they just used the opportunity because they didn't have to kiss anybody.
Yeah, that's true.
Not that stopped Supernatural before, but I feel like, you know, like Jensen and Jared might have like a more specific contract about that.
Yeah. With like 4 seasons, if fandom would have exploded.
Yeah. And like I just feel like, you know, like every other time we've had a Crossroad demon show up, like we have had like these like gorgeous like dark-haired women, like maybe they just wanted to mix it up. Maybe I think maybe what happened was they were starting to plan out some other characters that were coming down the line.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, we need to introduce that demons can be in dudes as well. Because like, the only time we ever see demons in dudes is when they're like the kind of demons that like, throw the Winchesters around or like eat babies and shit like that. We never see them doing these like crossroady type jobs. I think they wanted to establish that aspect of demons a little bit more. Yeah, dudes can do this too. It's not all about women.
And if you look at like demon mythology, they are very good at talking to people and manipulating them. So it's good to introduce the fact that men are able to do that too.
Especially because they didn't have to like negotiate in like how comfortable Jared was going to be doing a kiss, because they didn't have to do that for this crossroad demon interaction. So like it's a good opportunity to do it, I guess.
Yeah.
Not that I think Sam straight, I don't, but
This Crossroads scene is, I didn't christen it Dom voice Sam until later on in the show, but it's I think the only time it happens before this episode is when he's yelling at John, like way back in season 1. But it's when Jared shouts, but he's like shouting for real, not like acting shouting, and it's right down in his chest, and it's
yeah. It
happens again in a later season.
I appreciate your appreciation of this.
Yeah. What I appreciate,
Sam is my baby.
What I appreciate with Sam is I like my Sam like a little bit like the demon pointed out that Sam's not looking so hot, except Sam is looking very hot.
It's like, I'm not gonna trust your standards. Okay, you're a demon.
He does look does he look intoxicated? Yes. But he's like got the full crazy eyes. The way he like does this big like dramatic shrug, that's my Sam.
He's intoxicated, but he also looks intoxicated.
And like the way that he pulls out the demon life, like this is the best Sam's looked of all season for sure.
It's a good look. I like him when he's just a little bit crazy, not like balls to the wall crazy, but just like a little bit wild behind the eyes.
Yeah.
I enjoy that for so many characters.
I like Sam when he's a little bit crazy, and I like Sam when he's on a redemption arc from being a little bit crazy. So like those two things just really mesh well together.
Yeah,
like we gotta like ration the crazy, because if we keep doing it, then
it can't be too crazy.
It's not as potent.
Yeah, we don't want to do anything too unredeemable, because I am here for a redemption arc. But the demon says like Sam like isn't going to be able to make a deal. It's not going to happen. So Sam stabs him in the back of the hand and demands to trade places with Dean. He doesn't want anything or any time in exchange, which is really interesting because Sam is now the only Winchester who hasn't made a demon deal. Like, because we've now learned that Mary made a demon deal and got 10 years to save John. John made a deal to save Dean and got a day. Dean made a deal to save Sam and got a year. And like Sam's like, I don't want any of that. I just want to die and have Dean be alive. But he's the only one who hasn't pulled it off. Yeah, he's the only one who hasn't made a demon deal, not for lack of trying, clearly, but
those demons are like, well, maybe, but no.
But the demon says that Dean's in hell, which is exactly where they want him, and like they've got plans for both the Winchesters basically, and then the flashback ends and Sam's about to say something to Dean and then he changes his mind, and then they're just in very loud, angry silence. Like Sam was about to maybe start to share with Dean, and then he changed his mind.
And it's just awkward in the Impala.
Very awkwardly loud. There aren't a lot of Impala scenes where they aren't talking and there isn't music. So like for them to just be sitting and like have this like actual just like the sound of the Impala and nothing else, very good work.
Someone should have turned on music. This is getting awkward.
They're not talking. They get to the hospital and they're talking to Anna's psychiatrist, and she's been diagnosed with schizophrenia due to the religious nature of her delusions. It's a pretty common symptom for people who develop schizophrenia suddenly in their 20s, is to like have like a religious aspect of their delusions. I'm not qualified to diagnose anybody, but if someone was like reading me off a list of symptoms and I had Anna in front of me, like I would probably be like, yeah, that sounds like schizophrenia.
Yeah, it tracks.
Yeah, it tracks. I get how the doctors got there. Because there's no way that they could have just assumed that of course this girl was hearing actual angels. It's not a thing that doctors ever assume.
You're like a special doctor.
Yeah. These doctors have no way of knowing angels exist. But one of the pages in Anna's journal or like sketchbook or whatever, reads the rising of the witnesses, and then another one says Sam Hain, the next seal is broken. And the picture with the rising of the witnesses is one of Bobby's like nightmare twin girls, and then the one on the like Sam Hain page is the witch guy that Sam Hain was wearing as a vessel.
Okay, so one of my favorite like random tropes that like no one ever talks about is just people randomly being really, really good at drawing.
Yeah, we don't know what Anna's drawing skills were before this, but she is certainly a good drawer now. She really captured, you could tell that is Sam Hain, like the actor that they had play Sam Hain.
Yeah.
Like, I see this on so many TV shows. Like someone is really good at art and no one ever comments on it. It's just hilarious to me. Like as an artist, it's just so funny.
Sam's able to like identify a very specific window and everything from this drawing. But that definitely clues them in that Anna knows some shit. Like whatever's going on with Anna, wherever she's at, whatever is happening to her, like whatever she knows is real. Like she's like, because she wasn't there for the Sam Hain thing. She wasn't there at Bobby's for this small child ghost thing that Sam and Dean barely even saw.
Yeah.
I think Sam saw them. I don't even know if Dean actually saw those girls. I can't remember. I think they did, because I think the girls were like the big final fight.
They showed up, I think, at the end of
the fight. The big final fight that all three of them were in.
Little shining twins.
Yeah. Oh man, they were creepy. But yeah, obviously they know that she wasn't there. So like for her to know these things is not a good sign. So they go to the Milton residence, which I will say the Miltons have like a really nice like little like painted sign on their house that like I don't know if that was to indicate Anna's like always been artsy, or like, 'cause, like my grandma paints stuff like that. But unfortunately Anna's parents have both been horrifically murdered and there's silver left behind, so we're assuming that it's demons that murdered Anna's parents.
Whoops.
So we got here a little late, unfortunately.
You would think that as two people who deal with demons and sulfur on the regular, Sam would not need to put that up his fucking nose.
Oh yeah, he like basically
it.
Snorted it.
Right in there.
Maybe that's his other addiction.
I'm gonna have to cut this for the future spoilers when we know what's up with Sam. But I did like go back and check and see like what Sam. I was like, did he put his finger in the sulfur or did he put his finger in because I was like,
no, it's the sulfur. But it's literally like his fingers are like a centimeter from his nose. I'm like,
like he's gonna really snort distinctive. It. Like he's gonna snort it like cocaine off his pinky finger. Like,
yeah, I don't feel like you need to get that close, fam. It reeks and it's yellow.
Yeah,
what
he needs this emotionally.
And again, we ask, where does the sulfur come from with the demons? Where is it coming from?
They're sprinkling it like seasoning. I think that was the one we landed on.
Yeah, that is. Yeah,
it's just, no, it just comes off of them like dandruff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was what I was gonna say. Maybe if they make like a wild sweeping gesture, and then there's just like a little sprinkling of sulfur left afterwards.
Yeah.
Kind of like David Bowie in Labyrinth and Glitter. It just happens.
Or is it? Yeah, is it like as they're like coming and going, like wherever they teleport in or out of? Like that's where this all. We don't know. We're never gonna know. We need to stop bringing it up every time.
But I think the conclusion we can make here is that there's untapped comedic potential.
Yeah, clearly this show that is so like into making a joke out of anything you can really did miss the boat on that one, because like where is it coming from? Also, like it's been a while since we saw like a big like clump of sulfur. Like it's visibly like a clump of sulfur on the ground and not just like a smell of sulfur somewhere in the room.
This demon was bad at like spreading it around. Forgot, they just dumped it in a rock.
Yeah, tossed it on the floor. Like, look, we were here. It's like a really shitty calling card. I wonder who killed these people. Well, they'll never know it was us unless we leave a clue.
Yeah.
Damn it, Balthazar, you suck at this.
But anyway, they are looking around the house and they like identify one of the windows, like a picture of Anna in front of a church with her parents, and they're like, that's clearly the same thing that Anna was drawing. Also, like Dean has a very weirdly sensitive for Dean idea of it putting themselves in Anna's shoes or brain, which is like a bold move considering Anna's been diagnosed as a psychotic. They have good reason to believe she's not actually a psychotic. But it is weird for Dean to be like, whose brain we should try and get, like, who we should try and like understand the logic of, like someone who's like on a bunch of antipsychotics. Like it just feels, maybe logic isn't like the prevailing outcome of that person in that moment. Like,
it's logic. It's just not a logic that most people would understand.
Luckily, Anna isn't actually psychotic, so she actually is operating on like a pretty solid logic. And like Sam's like, hey, this is clearly the same picture of the like these windows. If you like were on the run and demons were chasing you and like a lot of weird stuff was happening to you, like you would probably go to a church to feel safe too. And they're like, yeah, okay, let's go. Now that I finished saying that sentence, I feel really icky about how I just talked about psychosis. It's a much more complex issue than I just painted it to be.
Well, yeah, that's what I was saying. Like there's logic. It's just not a logic that most of us would relate to.
I feel like it's a logic that you're gonna have a hard time putting yourself into as someone who's not in that same state of mind.
Which is kind of Dean. Yeah, that's kind of
a lot of knowledge and empathy.
Yeah, so Dean's just going to go with whatever. He's not going to.
He's going to be blunt and ham-handed about it and be like, no, we can totally work this out. And a little bit more nuance to it.
Sam just jumps on board. Sam's like, okay, yeah, here, like we can match this pictures. Like, where would you go? And they're like, they both get there. They're on the same page with each other. And you know what? It works. So who are we to argue?
Literally on the same page of the sketchbook.
I just thought, like, if Anna was actually psychotic, I'm not sure they could have gotten to Anna by doing that. Like, you can't really predict how people are going to react to certain things, like when they're in an altered mental state. Like, or even when they're not. Like, someone else, like something that sounds logical to somebody else isn't going to be logical to you.
Yeah, I just find it interesting that the boys are able to find one thing in a picture and can immediately like
identify it.
They do this all the time. It's Sam or it's Dean, like that the tree in front of the whatever in his vision, like back in season 1, and I'm just like,
does Sam secretly have it like a photographic memory? Is that what's actually happening?
Like Google image search their brains.
But I feel like Dean has done that too in weird situations, so maybe they both have it. Yeah, maybe they
secretly have a photographic memory, but like neither of them have been consistently in school enough to notice. That would explain a lot about how Sam got into Stanford.
Actually, that would explain a lot.
Headcanon accepted there.
Memorize the textbook. They go to the church and it's suns out guns out going into this church, which has gorgeous stained glass, by the way. I'm not like a church goer, but I love church architecture and especially church windows. I think more secular buildings should be spending the money to make window art.
Yes, they should. Bring it back.
Yeah, like why doesn't every fucking nice building have like gorgeous stained glass? Like why is it only churches? Like I get it's expensive and like people are all about saving money, but like it's fucking gorgeous.
Right. If you're already spending millions, what's a few extra?
I don't want to be like sheepishly going into churches that I don't belong to, being like, can I just like look at your windows? I want to go into conference centers.
I study a lot of medieval and early modern history, and I am just a big believer that everything should just be Gothic cathedrals again.
Yes. Yes.
So much work, but it would be worth it.
It would be beautiful. It would. None of this modern clean lines. No, I hate that. No,
I want pointless gargoyles everywhere.
Fun architecture. Like, let's be fun with it. Anyway, Sam says that his name's Sam, and Anna immediately guesses that his last name's Winchester, and he's surprised, but the surprise is a uniquely seasons 1 to 4 phenomenon. From here on out, if the Winchesters will be highly offended to meet any angel, demon, or monster, etc., that doesn't know of them, at least by reputation. If not, maybe like recognize them on sight, at least here's the name Sam or Dean Winchester and doesn't immediately know who they are. Like, they will be offended from here on.
maybe cower a little bit, just for fun.
Be at least prepared to be like, oh, you're the Winchesters. If you don't immediately recognize, if you're not going, oh, you're the Winchesters, like people should know who they are.
Yes.
In this case, though, we haven't gotten quite to that level yet. So Sam's surprised that she knows, and then he's like, yeah. And she's like, so Dean, are you the Dean? And she's like, the angels won't stop talking about the Winchester and how Dean was saved from hell by Castiel, and they don't love Sam, and she can't talk to the angels, but she can like overhear them. So she's been listening to the angels talk for like 2 months now.
Sam, of course, is an abomination.
Yes, I have notes on this bit as well. Obviously, this is a very Sam-heavy episode, but we can't. No woman escapes unflirted with in Dean Winchester's presence. Not one single solitary woman. So she's like, "You must be the Dean," and he's like, "Yes." And then Sam pulls the face.
Sam does pull the face.
But then also when she turns back to Sam and she's like, "Some of them don't like you," and he pulls this like really wounded face, like this is news. He's already
it's not news.
An abomination.
Yeah, I mean, he already met. I don't think we haven't had the abomination line yet, but we have had.
Oh no,
that's it's 5. But we have had Sam and Cass meet already, and Cass Sam's like, "I'm so honored to meet you." He's like stammering, and like Cass is like, "I'm really glad you've ceased your extracurricular activities." And he just refers to Sam as the boy with the demon blood. Like,
no, I have so much more to offer.
He's not excited to meet Sam at all. He's like really hesitant to like shake hands. Like, he doesn't want to shake Sam's hand. Like, so we've already had that. So this is news to Sam, but like it is like it's still, I think it hurts because Sam's still like Sam's a believer. Sam's
it's being talked about. So
he was so excited that I think he was so excited because like Anna's like, the angels talk about you both, and like angels like think that Dean's gonna save us, and then she's like, oh, and Sam, they don't like you.
They're not a fan of you. It's just he just pulls this little wounded little.
I know his feelings are hurt.
He just rejected that.
But he is doing the whole thing with the powers that he's not supposed to be doing. The angels have specifically told him not to be doing it now. Like, and not just through Dean, but now to his face from the actual angels. I've been like, you should not be doing this.
Yes, well, isn't that the point of free will and all that nonsense?
Sam
making bad decisions.
Sam's fatal flaw is hubris. So he's not going to listen anyways.
No.
Exactly.
There's nothing he can do about it. Anna says that like can't talk back to the angels. She just hears them. And the voices started on September 18th when Dean was pulled out of hell. The very first thing she heard was Cass just like straight up screaming, "Dean Winchester is saved." I know this isn't like a Castiel heavy episode for guests or for content, but like that's pretty gay.
That's actually the face that Sam pulls after that is when I finally decided what percentage of Jared's acting skills should be attributed solely to his jawline, and I've settled on 29%.
Yeah,
because he pulls a face to Dean, and I'm like, a good
out here screaming about it, like to the point that Anna suddenly can hear angels. Like,
a good
hear it before, but now she can.
Never yelled so hard about your boyfriend. But...
it's just the look he gives Dean.
Like, there's that thing where like after your date like drops you off and like you close the door and then you do like the little like happy screaming dance. Like, that was Cass. Anna's really charmed by Dean, but luckily they don't have to ruin that by telling her that her parents have been murdered, because Ruby shows up in an absolute panic and a statue of Mary starts crying blood. Always love when a statue starts crying blood.
Absolute fave. Another point that I have to make here. Ruby and Anna are wearing very similar hot girl supernatural outfits. Very similar. Like, geez. It was like there a reason, though, that Anna needed to be 76% tits in this episode? Everything she wears, even in the hospital, it's like her shirt in the hospital is super low cut.
Not get women on this show. Like, that is the reason.
I just love how they have such similar outfits, though.
It's and like then also because like going into the next episode, like romantic parallels need to happen quickly. So dressing them the same, I think, is. But also, the show just is horrible with women generally. So I'm not surprised that they're like, oh, all women dress very specific fashion that's like supernatural hot girl.
But like the jackets, the low cut tops, the high heeled boots,
low rider jeans.
Yeah,
that was
flared
just
legs.
The style. It was also like no jeans came up higher than that in 2008.
Yeah, that's true.
It's true.
All jeans stopped there.
not to put people in boxes, but Anna is she's the child of a church deacon. You would think if anybody was going to dress more modestly,
I also
would be
think
her.
We gotta do their
and if anybody
parallel, but we also have to contrast them. Like we have to compare to contrast them, because Ruby's a demon and Anna's at least hearing angels and like is a child of a deacon. Like
I just feel like if anybody was going to be a good
if you think she was going to dress,
it would be Ruby, and Anna would be more modest. Like I don't care. I don't think you should dress modest just because you are involved in the church, or you shouldn't because you aren't. I didn't like. I was looking at it going, the top of the hospital was really
dress her more like Lori from Hookman, who is also like the daughter of a church official.
Well, when she escaped the hospital, maybe when she escaped the hospital, that was the first thing she could
she didn't go home, so who knows where these clothes even came from.
She's wearing a blouse though. She could button it up more.
She could have, yes, absolutely.
Don't come here with your earth logic. Supernatural hot girl outfit.
Like early 20s, and like I feel like you're like early 20s, like college girls, like just kind of like dress a little bit like less modestly as a general rule, compared to like other stages in life, you know. Just I don't know. She looks great though. It's really, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. She could be wearing something more practical or comfortable, but she looks good, and that's all. That's all that the costume department cared about, and it's all on choosing they care about.
I feel like with the number of women wearing like high heels into battle on this show and other shows, I don't really care about practicality.
We have bigger concerns, but
if we were going to go for practicality, Sam and Dean would be in like joggers or shorts or something. Jeans wouldn't be the first choice. 15 upper body layers wouldn't be a choice either. Yeah. So I don't know. It just struck me as odd. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Why not?
True. Very true.
Sam literally sticks Anna in a closet, and then Ruby gets to coaching Sam about how to like pull this demon, or else they're all gonna die. And Sam pulls out a flask, like maybe he's gonna fill the flask up with something. And then Ruby says, "No, there's not time for that," and so he puts it away. Just note that down for the future reference.
It's a surprise tool that'll help us later.
But also, Dean was standing right there, so that was gonna be a bold fucking move to do with Dean present. But because obviously we've seen the show, we know what Sam was about to do with that flask, but we're not going to talk about it this week. Sam's got that like heart like sound kind of like low, which is what is like the signal for Sam's powers, and he does go right for the I call it an exorcism in my notes, but after this I'm not going to be calling what Sam does an exorcism, because Ruby doesn't refer to it as an exorcism, and I'm going to trust Ruby's the expert here.
What are they calling it? Like
Ruby just yoinking? Says pulling it. She says pull the like that's all she says. Like it doesn't really have a noun. It's a verb.
I'm gonna call it a demon yoink, because that sounds funnier.
Because like an exorcism is like less like we'll get to it. I have a whole thing in my notes about why I think they're different. The demon says that Sam doesn't have the juice, and then demon telekinesis Sam down the stairs. Sam Hain, who was an actual like seal who witches spent 600 years waiting to rise, couldn't do that to Sam. This dude is bad news. This dude is overpowered as fuck.
Also, that actor was on the X-Files.
Of course he was.
Yeah, that's my thing.
Like, Dean goes for the demon knife, obviously. What else is he going to do at that point? But it doesn't work because this demon it is overpowered as fuck. And he fully knows Dean, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm wearing a pediatrician as a vessel, so you can't like see what I look like. But like as soon as he talks a little bit more, Dean's like, this is Alastair, and we don't know who Alastair is yet. And unfortunately, we're gonna have to learn that later. I wish we didn't have to know who Alastair was, because I don't like Alastair at all.
But he's Alastair, not Alastair.
Ruby grabs Anna out of the closet and disappears with her. Sam comes back and uses the knife, but it doesn't kill Alastair, so unfortunately we're gonna have to continue dealing with him. And Sam and Dean just decide to jump out of the window so they don't die, even though it literally could not help them from not dying if the demon wanted to keep trying to kill them, but it does work, so it doesn't matter.
There's a cute little moment there. Obviously, we know as watchers that they're not actually jumping out like the second story of the church, but you're supposed to believe that they are, but we know they're only going to fall like a couple of feet. But Jensen does this really weird like arm flail as he like comes through the window that really made me laugh, because Jared's like quite reasonably straight faced about, yes, I'm going to make it look like I'm falling a considerable distance. Dean just flails all his limbs. Jensen just flails. I'm
not going to make it.
I'm going to die.
I might die.
Again. You know what? Commitment to the bit. Anyway, cut to Sam stitching up his own arm. Well, Dean is like, hurry up and finish that because my arm is dislocated. Cannot stress enough that you should seek a medical professional for any joint relocation or stitches. If you're not going to do that, don't use drinking alcohol to sterilize. Get some isopropyl alcohol and don't just like splash it on like that. It's not good for your skin, and it's also flammable. So like,
also rinse the wound before you put the alcohol on.
Yeah. Also, yeah, like alcohol. If you are going to alcohol before you do the stitching, like clean that shit out and then stitch and then maybe clean up after. But like,
you're gonna get infected. The only thing protecting you here is your plot armor.
Hopefully Sam did some cleaning beforehand, but it didn't really seem like it.
You're bringing earth logic also, back into this again.
And I will do it once more.
This is like this whole like whiskey on a wound thing is like from the olden days. Modern whiskeys are like half as strong as the olden days whiskey was. Therefore not as good at cleaning wounds.
If you are ever
off topic, but whiskey on a wound sounds like a great band name.
Yes, it does.
Really does. It does.
I'm going to use that.
I'm not out here giving anybody any medical advice, but should you find yourself in a Winchester situation, you need to use vodka, not whiskey. Trust me, this is going to work out better for everybody. If you try, like, ideally, go to the fucking hospital.
Whiskey and vodka are the two that you can use. It seems like vodka is more recommended than whiskey, but like...
But if you're going to Walmart to get medical supplies, go to the pharmacy first.
Generally, the consensus was if you have some other way to clean the wound, don't use alcohol.
But if you are really, really stuck,
if you are like
vodka
really
is going to be a better bet than
like
whiskey.
A life or death situation, then you should definitely try and prevent an infection.
There's just like a whole other bunch of things that I'm just like, you need to sterilize the needle and don't use fucking minty dental
We've
floss.
talked about this though too, that the boys have never gotten proper first aid skills. Like they've never been taught that at all.
Yes, like you can't, like you're not gonna find like a suture kit at like your everyday, but like there's gotta be like
they should have it though. Like that's the thing. Like why don't they have that?
Steal that shit.
The medical supply stores exist though, and it was what, like 2000 and what is this one, like 2008? You could get it online.
Yeah.
You know, it's accessible, like proper suture. Yeah, like fully as well. Don't ever do this. But if you were ever to be in a dire Winchester situation where your options were like whiskey and vodka, if the only thing you have is dental floss, like try and clean the minty shit off at first, because that's you're gonna have a real bad time if you don't do that.
Yeah, obviously don't do what you can to prevent yourself from bleeding out.
Don't do anything the Winchesters do.
Yeah,
that's pretty.
That's just a good general rule to follow in life.
I just feel like you should imbue people with some life-saving information. Like, what if someone
John
was like,
would have, but that didn't happen, so we're just gonna have to go with what the poor boys have got to work with.
I mean, Sam lost them $700 by failing to hustle them poker or at pool. So,
oh my gosh,
maybe the supplies are running low. Maybe that's it. Maybe Dean's like, no, stitch yourself up with fucking minty dental floss and whiskey. Fuck you.
They should have had a line about that. Like, you know, we would be able to get the better dental floss if you had just hustled that guy.
Lost $700. It's fine.
Like that's a lot of dollars.
Dean is pissed that Sam lost the magic knife to save him. This is the most John-coded. And this is exactly what got Azazel caught when he was possessing John, was failing to have this reaction to Dean wasting the cold bullets. Like, this is that same thing. Dean's having the angry reaction when he should be having the thank you for saving my life reaction. And that's how Sam knows that his brother's not possessed by a demon. So good for Sam.
That's a chick flick moment. You don't say thank you for saving my life. Don't be silly.
No, you yell.
You say, can you hurry up and pop my shoulder back in?
And Sam's not too concerned about Anna. He trusts that Ruby will take care of her, but he is really anxious to know what kind of demon can throw him around like that, because again, Sam Hain couldn't do that 2 weeks ago. He does pop Dean's shoulder back in and
lies. On 3, 1.
Yeah, lies. That's how you gotta do it. It's just, I've never had a dislocated shoulder, but like I feel like you just gotta like go on 1. You gotta say you're gonna go on 3 and go on 1. I feel like that's the best way to do it. Like, it's not gonna hurt me less no matter what. At least you're not expecting it.
No, I have children, so I fully disagree. If you say you're going on 3, you go on 3, because otherwise you break trust. Like, you get to have sad, weak children going, you said 3, and I'm like, yeah, but I knew you were gonna flinch, so shut up.
Yeah, I don't know. It just
not that I have ever put my children's dislocated joints back together.
Yeah, like
I'm talking about like splinters stuff.
Yeah, splinters and like pulling off band-aids and shit.
Yeah. Not dental floss and shoulders.
It's very in character for the Winchesters, though.
Yeah, it does. This does feel like their relationship trust. Where they're like, I feel like breaking trust for them. Like, it just feels like that's kind of what Dean was expecting. Like, Dean asks again why Sam trusts Ruby so much, and this time he's gonna need a real answer, and this time Sam's gonna give it to him. So we do another flashback to 6 months ago. Sam's in his little jackety jacket, and he's clearly intoxicated in some way, but he gets jumped by a pair of demons. One of them's Ruby in a new blonde body. She says she got topside again after she promised Lilith that she would find and kill Sam. Instead, she kills her demon partner and tells Sam they need to go. And then they're in the car, and Ruby wants French fries, which we've seen her enjoy before, which does lead to questions, because like demons and salt are like a no-go, so she eat her French fries with no salt on them, because like that's
sad.
And
but she loves them anyway, which is
weird.
very
She's taken
almost
Sam's
cute.
French fries before, so does that mean that Sam's French fries don't have salt on them? Because we know Sam thinks that people who are low sodium are freaks. So
she was using ketchup too. Like, that has salt in it, doesn't it? I don't really like ketchup.
I feel like it's got to be pure salt. So maybe like by virtue of touching the French fry, it's no longer pure enough to cause a problem.
Or maybe she's just willing
we're
deal with the pain.
I think that's it. Yeah, I think she enjoys it. It's like eating a hot pepper. Like, some people just enjoy that. So I think that's what it is too.
No, masochist. I accept that. I do.
I would definitely accept Sam to be the kind of person to say no salt on his fries though for health reasons. It just sounds like a Sam thing to do.
All those people in season 1 low sodium freaks for not having salt in their house. So I feel
he was just out of college then, though. He'd been living on ramen and God knows what. Better standards now.
Sam is like low key on the low sodium. That is possible. They do eat out so much, and like every meal that you eat out comes with French fries. Like, maybe he is just like, okay, we can't fry like salt on everything. But like, honestly, fries aren't that good without it.
No, they're not. But he eats kale and veggie bacon, so clearly taste isn't a problem for him. He's just nutrients. He's not enjoying the food.
Why eat fries in the first place?
Yeah,
if it's a cheat day, go all the way.
Ruby tells Sam that she doesn't know of anything powerful enough to save Dean, so she's no longer promising to save Dean like she was in the previous season, which we knew was a lie. Like, she told Dean she was lying to Sam about that, but now she's not even trying to do that. And he tells her to get out of his car, and then he asks her what body she's in, which is a secretary, and he's like, get out of my car and get out of this body, like, let her go. So then we get the Ruby as we now have her scene. Ruby's current Genevieve Cortese body is Jane Doe being taken off of life support that Ruby possesses, causing her to wake up and demand French fries, which I think is a great scene.
And also but like, if I was assuming she was in a coma or something being taken off life support, but that body's in great nick. What happened?
She must have like fallen and hit her head or something, like a brain injury of some sort. Like, you'd expect more external injuries. She's a Jane Doe, so they don't know who she is. So like, maybe she's been, I don't know how long it would take to get permission unplug somebody that you can't identify. You can't find a next of kin for. True. So like maybe she's been in the hospital for a long time, and like any like superficial wounds have healed already, and then anything internal that would still be wrong with her, I guess, wouldn't matter to Ruby anyway. So like as long as the outside of the body is more or less intact, I think she's good to go.
Every time I think about this, I just wonder like how long it took Ruby to find that particular body, because like it's probably not easy to find someone that specific.
Yeah,
while also being a attractive woman.
She clearly prefers attractive females. And she was definitely looking for someone who's like gonna be dead anyways. But I do love that she brings Sam a doctor's note.
I got paperwork. I brought the receipts.
To prove that her vessel is recycled. So Sam lets her in, and she like makes a point to say like there's like the person that was in this body is gone. It's just Ruby in there, which I think is really interesting considering what happens to Cass later in the series. It's very important that the bodies be on the empty side. But Sam's in this like weird abandoned house. Like just stay in a motel.
No, because then you couldn't. He's clearly losing every inch of his mind. That needs to be.
Yeah, that's true. I guess, yeah.
And I can never work out if half of that house is demolished, because in some shots it looks like it's
you can see right through
like an external set, and there's like leaves and shit.
Yeah,
and
like one wall is like torn down and then like reborn it back up or something, or like
it's more fun to squat in an abandoned building.
Yeah, it's like abandoned, and you know what I think it is? It's like Sam is actually like so seriously suicidal at this point that like I do kind of think like maybe he's like, well, if I die, I don't want like a person that works at a motel to find the body. Like I could definitely see that being Sam's that Sam's sometimes very insensitive, but in that way specifically he would be sensitive. I feel like even in like a very dark moment where he's contemplating like killing himself, I feel like he would be sensitive to like what the aftermath of that is going to be. Oh, that was depressing. I'm definitely like, let's just not linger on that for too long.
I'll change direction completely, because this is a note I made for this bit is massive props to whoever did the makeup for this episode, because Jared is tan as fuck in this episode. You can see it in his arms, but the makeup on his face, they make him look like genuinely like he hasn't had a good meal in like weeks. He's had no sleep. He's like all blotchy because he's drunk all the time. His hair
you can very much tell from like his eyes, like around his like the color around his eyes that he's been intoxicated in all of these flashback scenes. Like
I just had to be like, and he's still hot as well, even with all the ick. And I'm like, that's impressive. That's incredibly impressive. Yeah, and his hair's greasy, which is always a sign of bad news bears, Sam.
Yeah. Ruby says that she can't bring Dean back, but what she can do is help Sam kill Lilith, and Sam immediately agrees. He's ready to go do the psychic whatever. No hesitation from him. No second thoughts about. Remember, like when Dean first got back and he asked Sam about the psychic thing, and Sam was like, "Oh no, that was your dying wish." Of course, I wouldn't have. Not even a little bit of hesitation. Not even, and I'm not sure. Just immediately, yes, I'm ready to do the psychic thing.
Oh god.
Oh baby. I wish you wouldn't. I mean, I don't actually wish that because I like when you do the bad thing, but I wish you wouldn't
lie so freely about it. You could have just been like, it was your dying wish, but I decided no. I decided I was gonna do something different because you were dead.
I'm so like back and forth on like what I want Sam to be. Like I want Sam to never have a bad day ever, but on the other hand, I also want him to go on this dark arc, and like those two things can't both happen. Ruby's like, no, we can't just go in and half-ass it like we did when Dean died. And so she makes Sam promise that he'll have patience and sobriety, and then she'll teach him how to use his powers. Then we get like a brief like interruption in the flashback, and then we're back. Nothing important happens. Flashback to Sam failing to pull a demon, which is exclusively how Ruby refers to Sam's gift. And I think it's different than an exorcism because it feels more permanent. Because if you do an exorcism, the demon can just come back out of hell. It feels like when Sam does his thing that demons aren't going to be able to just like pop back out of hell.
I had always taken, because you see like the smoke kind of like fracture. So I had always assumed it was destruction of the demon in the same way the knife is.
It feels like not the vessel. More permanent. It feels somewhere, but it like pulls it out of the vessel first, as opposed to the knife, which kills the demon inside the vessel, which kills the vessel. I agree. So like this, so I think I'm going to use Ruby's like pull more than I'm going to use exorcism, which I think is
yawing. Meredith told you. I
Yoink.
I paid attention.
Aw, thanks.
Ruby tries to talk about Sam's grief, but Sam shuts her down very firmly that he doesn't want to talk about Dean. He looks very good in this gray t-shirt.
It's the same shirt that he was wearing when he's stitching up his arm.
Yeah.
And then he changes from that shirt to like a more blue tone shirt in the present, but it's the grey shirt
when he cleans up. Yeah. Ruby says that she used to be
the gray shirt again. That's one of Carly's notes. That gray shirt again.
That gray shirt again.
Ruby says that she used to be human, and so she's sorry for Sam's loss because she still remembers what loss feels like, and he just like can't talk about it. Like he cannot talk about it, which makes me sad. And this is the thing with Sam.
But he spent his whole life with John and Dean being beaten over the head
he
with
hasn't
grief.
really been given the skills.
He's been told to grieve someone he never knew and been beaten
and
for
not talking
grieving
about her.
them well enough. Don't talk about her. You have to be sad about her 24/7, and if you're not sad enough, we're going to tell you that you don't care. But don't ever talk and try and make a connection with this person. He's got issues, all right?
Yes, worship her the way we do.
It's complex.
But don't talk about her.
Ruby says that Sam's not alone, and she kisses him, and I love this
non-consensually.
Non-consensually. Fascinating.
Honestly, given what we find out later about this whole arrangement and Ruby, it makes sense.
So this is not consensual at all. Sam pushes her away. He walks into the next room, like very clearly, he's very upset. He puts a lot of physical distance between them. He wipes his mouth after. He is drunk, and he's not supposed to be drinking. Like very much all around bad news, non-consent. Ruby is like reassuring him about being the only one in the body, and she gets down on her knees like in front of him, like, and she's like pulling his hands underneath her shirt, and she's telling him how nice her body feels, and she taunts him about like being scared and about how like taboo like having sex with a demon would be, and like
kind of icky, like she pressured him into this.
Icky, and he kind of kisses her to shut her up, and then he like in the next, and then like it's all over from there. He like pulls her up into his lap, and they're undressing each other. Like he's basically doing this because she dared him to, like because she said that he was going to be too scared to do it, and he's sad and he's lonely, and like he doesn't want to talk, and like this is just the best way to achieve that, and it's very, very uncomfy.
But the thing is, it's one of those really icky like sexual assault against the Winchester things that me and Sandra have talked about on our podcast. But it's one of the hottest things on his fucking legs in the show as well.
The problem is that they're not really acting enough, because this is Jared and his future wife.
And that's the thing. You can see the chemistry between them, and I'm like,
don't like this. I used to not like this scene because I'm like, I'm not sure how much of this is acting, and like that makes me uncomfortable, because I do think that like even people who are, I'm a big fan of intimacy coordinators, and like I think this was much too early for Supernatural to have one. But like I think even people who are partnered in real life should have an intimacy coordinator when they're doing on-camera work. I just think I think it's uncomfortable to watch two people who are actually in a couple be in a scene like this, that it's not like where it is like very like weird low-key sexual assault, like it's like not like a violent assault, but still non-consensual, and like that's not okay still, like it's like a sex under duress, coercive rape kind it's
of
very
thing.
Manipulative, but I'm also here for Ruby to be manipulative. Like it's the thing that I think makes Ruby so great.
Is that she's manipulative, but she's so good at it.
Yes. This scene is it basically captures pretty much everything I love about Sam, which is he's so much bigger than everyone else. So his hand is like the size of her face. He lifts her up, and he's like, his arms are like bigger than her thighs, and I'm like, he's
fuck. Jared bulked up a lot between seasons 3 and 4, and like this is the first time we've really seen him like have noticeable muscles. It's a lot of muscles. It's a long scene too.
It's funny that this is the scene where we first notice all his new muscles.
Dean stops the story there because that's too much information about his baby brother, and he's like,
I get it.
Sam's like, I told you I was coming clean, and Dean just goes, yeah, well now I feel dirty.
You should.
Which is a great line. That's a great line. But also, is this not the same Dean that the last season was going, it's my last year on Earth, I've only got so many months left, please sleep in the car so I can fuck these girls in the hotel room?
You didn't ask him to watch.
This is demony. I mean, Sam walked in on Dean in that motel room when he was supposed to be sleeping in the car, and Dean was like, it was a natural, beautiful act, Sam. You shouldn't be grossed out about this at all. Versus just hearing about his baby. So he is a little bit hypocritical, but also like, we didn't need all the details. If I was ever talking to, I mean, I would never be having a conversation like this with my brother, but I would never disclose any graphic information about my sex life to my sibling.
I'd be just like, that didn't happen. Anyway.
I would be I would maybe be like, I slept with this person. There would be no details. There would be no details on how that happened. I get
I find it hard to believe though that Sam was that detailed.
Oh, I agree. No, I think we're getting a lot of details and Jean is not.
No,
he's not getting the word for word.
He's a little brother, and how many years has he endured Dean rubbing his sexual conquest in his face?
I don't know. Sam gives me like not very. Sam gives me like on the ace spectrum somewhere vibes, and always has. And so for me, like I don't know. Something about Sam just like never felt comfortable about. Maybe it's because of how aggressive Dean is in like talking about sex. That like for me, Sam just never felt comfortable talking about it.
I'm penciling you in to come talk about that.
Yes, I would love to come talk about like great
talk to me about Sam. Ace. Yes, talk to me about Ace Sam. Yes.
I love Ace Sam. Like as an Ace person, it's just great for me.
Amazing. You are also welcome, Meredith. That was like an open invite. Come talk to us about Ace Sam, because that is not something I have considered and I want to know more.
Still Ed and KJ here, and after we recorded this episode, we went out and did exactly that, and we recorded an episode with Sandra and Kasey where we did talk about Ace Sam, and it's up on Impala's podcast feed to listen to whenever you want. It's out there and available. Meredith and I had a great time over there, so please go and check that out here where we went with that conversation.
There isn't a lot for it in the fanfic world, but maybe I need to fix that.
Gotta do that. I'm not.
But that means, I mean, if your fic isn't going to be super smutty, then like you gotta do plot, and that's complicated.
Yeah, that's you have two choices. You can throw in a gratuitous hand job, or you can talk about feelings, and I know who I am as a person.
I don't know. As a writer, I'm so much better at talking about feelings than I am in real life.
If I'm gonna write fanfic, though, I don't want to commit to plot. It's so much easier just to like have them jump into bed.
Yeah, well, I have a really great suggestion for you there. Write something that is no plot, just porn, and then when it's done, go, I could do a flashback about this, and then do the flashback, and then you go, oh shit, now I need to connect these two, and then do a connecting thing that is definitely more plot than porn, and then suddenly, well, now you've got an AU, and now you've got a series, and now you're like nearly 50k words into it, and you've hammered it into 1,000 pieces, and now you're going, oh god, I've got to fix this. And I can't gratuitous time jump my way out of this.
This doesn't sound like advice anymore.
No, it's real life. It's happening to me. This is what I have done.
So it's more like a cautionary tale.
Yeah.
No, I'm just encouraging people to end up in the same boat with me because it's lonely out here and I hate it.
What you do. Encouraging people to do the same bad thing you did.
Come pursue the white whale with me.
Dean is not really like seeing how anything that has happened is like worth trusting Ruby over. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, Ruby manipulated you into having sex. Like, I don't get how that turned into trusting Ruby. And Sam's like, well, after that, I found out where Lilith was and I wasn't ready, but I went in anyway. So then we flash back to that. And Ruby says that Sam's the only one that can do it. So if Lilith kills him, everything's over. Remember the very specific phrase, Sam's the only one who can do it, because that's going to come back. Mm-hmm. And then Ruby realizes that Sam wants to die, and he especially wants to die fighting Lilith. And if he survives with Lilith, then he's going to have to keep on living without Dean. So like Sam's like full on suicidal at this point. Like explicitly, Ruby has suddenly had the realization. Sam gets really violent with Ruby and like pins her up against a wall, says it's going, and then walks out. Ruby is a demon, but we do need to remember she's the shape of a very tiny woman and Sam's a large man. And the show just loves for men to like chuck women around.
It's great. Yeah. But finding excuses to do so. Like she's a demon, she can handle herself, or she's a witch. Sam
could have stormed out and been angry without like putting hands on her. I feel like this show just really loves for female characters to experience violence.
Yeah. But like never, But like if a protagonist is doing it, like they always like to pick on the more powerful women because they can just use the excuse like she's an opponent.
But then in the next scene, like Ruby gets her vessel's wrist broken. So is she a powerful, invulnerable demon, or is she a little 5'4" girl?
She's both, all at once.
Depends on what the plot calls for, I suppose.
Yeah, she is both. Like the broken wrist is still going to hurt, but but like it's like not really actually going to affect her because she's a demon.
But it does. But it does in the scene though.
It shouldn't. It really shouldn't actually. Based on like what we've seen with like Meg, like based on like season 1, season 2 Meg, content, like anything, like Meg got thrown off a fucking building and shot and a whole bunch of other shit.
Off. And just walked it off.
Got up and walked away. So like really, Ruby Ruby's wrist should be able to break, but like it shouldn't hurt her.
Yeah, no, but it does.
It does.
It puts her in a really vulnerable position in the fight in the next scene.
I guess Meg was just on a whole different level. She was built different.
I mean, Meg was pretty high up actually, so
that's true. I miss Meg. I'm sorry.
But yeah, anyway.
I also miss Meg.
Sam thinks he's found Lilith, but what he actually finds is a scared little girl and 2 large goon demons. See, this is where we usually see demons that are in male vessels. Is these like big goons that like show up to like do violence.
Great. I'm so happy. With the exception of Yellow Eyes, honestly.
Yeah.
So he was doing plot stuff while also throwing people around.
Yeah. And there's no reason because like the girl demons can also do that. Like so I do think that like the reason we had our male crossroads demon is just to be like, oh yeah, male demons can do other shit. But like because Lilith in little girl form could absolutely take Sam, no problem. Like her powers aren't relative to the size of her body in any way. She just like doesn't bother. It's like beneath her. She has goons to do something.
Honestly, I wonder if that's part of the reason why she had a preference for little girl vessels for a little while.
I think her preference is is what we saw in like season 3 of like showing up in families and like tormenting the other family members. I think that's what Lilith likes.
And doing that like as someone who is like supposed to be the weak. Well, but doing that as like one of the weakest members of the family. Like I think she enjoys that. I think she enjoys making people expect her to be weaker, but then proving that she is going to.
I think like violence, like family violence suddenly out of nowhere is terrifying from any family member. It's especially terrifying from like a 6-year-old girl.
Exactly.
That level.
But like after she takes Ruby's first vessel, we mostly see her in the form of adults.
Also, Lilith's like food of choice is newborn babies, and I feel like like popping into a family that has like a small child and a baby is just like primo Lilith. Those poor girls. I hope honestly, I don't usually hope for like vessels to die, but I hope like any girl. But I hope that like the vessels that like Lilith has been in, like most of them have not made it, because like that's horrific to go back to and like live with that trauma. Like that poor girl that Lilith was in the season 3 finale, like killed her grandfather and her cat and her babysitter.
Yeah,
like all like a bunch of people, and like the rest of her family is traumatized. And I hope she doesn't remember it, or like, and I hope that her family like gets over it, because it's awful.
Yeah, because they have to. They didn't. I think we discussed this already, but it's not good for anyone.
No, it's bad. It's bad all around. Ruby shows up to fight demons, and Sam grabs the like little girl vessel and runs away with her. Ruby's going to be captured and her wrist is broken or whatever. So Sam comes back and he actually manages to do the psychic thing correctly this time. Yeah, like seems like he hadn't really managed to do it before, but he does it this time and saves Ruby. And then Sam says like, whatever Dean has to say, Ruby came back to save him when she didn't need to, and when she thought he was definitely going to die. And the things that she said are the things that Dean would have said, and those two things coupled together were like enough to like trust her.
Especially because he was in such a dark place and he needed someone like that.
And he needed it's the Dean thing. Like she's using the fact that Dean's not here to manipulate Sam by like saying things she knows that Dean would say. Like it's not hard to figure out what Dean would say to Sam. Like
well, also she's
been around them before.
Like they already have a history.
Yeah.
And he has already tried to trust her in the past.
Yeah,
and also
like Sam said, like if Ruby wanted them dead, like she would just stop saving them. And I think this was just like one more nail in that coffin.
Well, also one thing I don't think they really mentioned is that she got sent to hell because of them, because she was helping them.
Yeah,
so there's
she
already
does say
that
the
self-sacrifice.
Things that she did, the things that she did to get back after that, like the thing promised Lilith she would do, and the thing she like went through to prove that she was back on Lilith's side when she went to find Sam, were pretty horrific. So she claims.
Yeah. So these are all these things that would just make Sam trust her so much in this moment.
Yeah.
Then a housekeeper knocks on the door and gives Sam an address and tells them not to take the car, leave a bathroom window. I haven't stayed in a motel in a hot minute, but like I feel like you'd be really hard pressed to find a motel with a bathroom window that Sam or Dean Winchester could both open and fit through. But we're just gonna pretend that Ruby's instructions made sense.
I love this housekeeper. Like she just played Ruby it's hilarious.
Ruby housekeeper was excellent.
This is like my favorite scene in the whole thing. I just thought the actress did an amazing job.
Yeah,
just
she
even
really
like 20 seconds.
Job.
Yeah.
And she did a really good job at like maintaining Ruby's mannerisms.
Yeah, absolutely.
She commanded that.
Her snark with Dean. Excellent.
Yes.
She
came, she saw, she caught.
Yeah. Sam and Dean do get out. We don't have to watch them try and climb out of a tiny window, and they get to the address. Anna is now also on Team Ruby, which Dean's feelings are swayed between this and Sam's thing, and he appreciates someone looking after Sam because he knows that Sam was in a horrible place. Like, it's not, Dean knows that Sam was in a bad place. He doesn't really, until now, I don't think he knew the extent, and he didn't know the extent that Ruby had been involved in like keeping him alive. But like that's the thing that Dean would like overlook a lot of red flags for.
Yeah.
Anna wants to call her parents, and Sam gets down and gets like dangerously close to the Sam whisperer and tells her that her parents have been killed, and she's devastated by that news. I felt really bad for her.
Yeah.
I think we haven't seen the Sam whisper in a while.
It's been a minute. It was really weird. And then Anna like hears something and she says they're coming, and the lights flicker, and they all assume demon, and I'm like, Anna wouldn't hear it if it was demon. But they lock Anna in a different closet. Anna's just getting chucked in a closet left and right in this episode.
Dean's projecting.
Ruby is really pissed to learn that they lost the knife. Dean immediately throws Sam under the bus for that, and Sam's like, hey.
With the best smile as well. That was like closed mouth, like evil brother smile. Loved it.
Yeah. Doesn't care that they're about to literally die because of it.
Yes, but he won its sibling rivalry.
The door goes flying, but it's not Alastair. It's Cass and Uriel. Ruby's eyes go black, which we don't see Ruby do demon eyes very often. Because we obviously know Ruby's a demon when we see her. They're not very thrilled that they're all hanging out together with Anna and Ruby. And Cass says that they're there for Anna, and Dean just wants to clarify if that means that they're there to help Anna or there to harm Anna. And Cass is really honest that they're going to kill her. And neither Sam or Dean takes that news with a smile. They're both like not happy to hear that. And then the episode fades to the to be continued.
Yes.
We'll pick that thread up later.
Any other like thoughts on the plot before we get into our like segments?
I mean, I just feel like it was a lot, like for the whole episode, which was great. I've listened and I've watched a lot of other Supernatural episodes that don't do all this plot really well, and like the backstory and the characterization. So I think that's one of the reasons I rated it a lot higher. It just seemed like it all made sense. It flowed really well, and and it's hard to do flashbacks, and I feel like they did that well too. And just that really liked the Ruby that we only got a little bit of. I would have liked to have seen her stick around a little bit more. I liked that. I just liked the portrayal of it. Carly and I were talking about that previously too. Like, just I wanted to see that one more.
I really like Jen as Ruby, but I forgot that there was like additional Rubies aside from Genevieve Cortese, Padalecki, and Katie Cassidy. I forgot that there was in between Rubies.
Like and they're pretty much all in this episode.
Yeah, I forgot that we had the secretary, and I forgot that we had the maid. I forgot the word maid for a second.
Side note, secretary had a really cool outfit.
Yeah, that was a really fun Ruby too, and like I thought that she did a really good job. I thought that her mannerisms were very consistent with like Katie Cassidy's performance. I really enjoyed that. So yeah, I thought that was really great. We're gonna go into MVP of the week. Meredith, do you have MVP this week?
I don't know.
Come back to you.
Maybe Ruby. I don't know. She was doing a lot, and I don't necessarily agree with her motivations.
She was doing.
But I do think she did a good job of keeping Sam on this plane of existence, which is something we need, but she was manipulating.
Carly, do you have an MVP?
I want it to be Sam, like so hard. I want it to be Sam, but I do kind of have to give it very begrudgingly to Ruby because there was a whole heap of shit going on, and she kept all those balls in the air. Yeah, I don't like it though.
Sandra, how about you?
It was Ruby. Same. Okay. I wrote begrudgingly because she did a lot to help Sam. You know, throughout the episode and in the flashbacks, he would not be where he was regardless without her. So yeah.
I think they did a really good job in this episode because it is hard to like why Sam trusts Ruby. Like we don't like Dean doesn't trust Ruby. We don't want to trust Ruby. Usually Dean's right about these things. Not gonna lie. I took a different angle with my MVP. I went for literally who's the most valuable person in this episode, and that's Anna. Everybody fucking wants that girl.
Yeah, she's a MacGuffin this episode.
The angels want her, the demons want her, everyone's hunting her down, murdering her parents. I feel like, high value.
America's most wanted.
No, but I do think Ruby is a good choice. I was like,
I don't want it to be Ruby, but it's Ruby for me.
It's Ruby.
Yeah.
Ruby's doing the most. Sometimes the only person who's never allowed to be MVP, no matter how useful they are, is John Winchester.
Oh,
so
same. That's not a problem at all.
It doesn't matter how helpful he is.
No, he's
struggling to think of a moment he's ever been helpful.
Luckily, we don't often have to deal with him being at all helpful or around anymore. But no matter what help he provides, not enough.
You cannot undo all your sins, John Winchester. Yes.
You're the reason we're in this mess.
What this episode maybe has going for it, the Bechdel test. We have two named women in this episode. Yeah, we have Anna, we have Ruby in like 3 different bodies.
Well, and I picked Anna and the psychiatrist at the beginning too. I mean, they had a conversation.
Yes. Yeah. Perfect. Because I was like, Anna and Ruby kind of have a conversation. That's not about a man, but I wasn't sure. But Anna and her psychiatrist definitely do.
Does the psychiatrist have a name?
Yes. I feel like she's Dr. something. Let me just check and see if her
doctors
IMDb. I'm just gonna check the IMDb and see if the IMDb credits her with having a name or if she's just the doctor. Okay, she is credited as psychologist. She doesn't have a name.
Okay.
Oh damn.
So technically that would really, I think it should. I mean, I feel like that those two things combined, because Anna and Ruby definitely have a conversation, and it's kind of not about a man. Like Anna and Ruby talk to each other when Anna says she's cool with Ruby. And like they've been hanging out. I feel like it's a yellow, but like we are really desperate for passes. So I'm gonna pass it.
Also, they get points for female doctors.
Yeah, I mean it would have been nice if she had a name, but
it would have. At least a name tag, like anything.
Yeah.
That counts.
Oh.
Okay. Our next segment is our case of the week. We have angels and demons. It's like a prophet like angle with Anna, but we don't really know much about Anna. Is there anything anybody wanted to talk about in this?
I was going to reserve my stuff for the next episode because there's more of an explanation for Anna.
Yeah, that's fair.
You can't really
anything there.
No, you can't really. This is all just set up for next time.
We've had angels, we've had demons, and we can't talk too much about what Anna's deal is just yet.
Although at the very beginning, she kind of gives me like a Joan of Arc vibe.
Plus, her last name Milton too. Is that in reference to an author like John? Is it John Milton?
It's probably John Milton. He wrote Paradise Lost.
I was gonna say Paradise Lost.
Yeah.
I do think that's meant to be a reference.
Okay.
Maybe that's something I will look into next week.
The IMDb trivia says so.
Okay, that's good. Cool. We trust the IMDb trivia with our fucking lives. Like anybody could add to it, but we trust it like it's real.
Oh yeah.
So that brings us to low light and highlight. Meredith, did you put low light and highlight for this episode?
Low light. I had something. What was it? I don't know. I guess low light and his parents died. That's just very sad. It is, yeah. Highlight is probably the maid that was Ruby's meat suit for a second.
Oh, she had a good day after that.
She was fine.
Carly, how about you?
My low light it's actually the start of, it's when Sam's walking back into the motel after the Crossroads demon, and he's kind of just like bouncing off the walls of the hall.
Oh, it's like a little bit too intoxicated.
Yeah, but the pain is just like, it hurts to watch.
It hurts, yeah.
Palpable. And highlight, probably Maid Ruby, to be fair. She was fun. I'd like hashtag more Maid Ruby. I want that.
Yeah.
Just like sassy people.
Sandra, how about you?
I really didn't have any lowlights because I was taking it more of like how well the episode flowed and stuff. So I kind of would have focused more on that as to just what I felt like wouldn't have worked.
That's how we go.
Yeah. But I had a couple like little mini highlights. I liked when the boys walked up porch steps to Anna's house because they were like in sync. I thought that was super cute.
I like when they walk in sync.
I did like the first aid treatment episode because it's the scene. It's so indicative of conversations that we've had before about what the boys know and don't know. And I thought that was great. The maid scene was definitely like my favorite funny scene. And just like the introduction of Alastair, I liked that.
Interesting.
I liked that character, like immediately, like just kind of like taking over, just being really like off, but in a really like villainy kind of way. I just liked all of that about that character. So yeah,
I really enjoy villains who like enjoy being villains.
Yeah,
that's
like
a
chewing
great
it up.
segue because my low light is Alistair. I hate him. And he's so overpowered compared to the other demons we've had. I think this would work better if we hadn't just had Sam Hain like 2 episodes ago.
Yeah.
I think compared to Sam Hain, he's very overpowered. I also just find his character. I love a good villain as well, and I think he's a great villain. But I hate him. I hate what he does to Sam in this episode. I hate what we're gonna learn he's done to Dean in later episodes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I hate him. My highlight.
I hate what he does to Ruby later too.
Yeah, that too. My highlight. I'm a Ruby manipulator stan. I like my Sammy a little bit crazy and dark side, and she's always responsible for that. And I'm gonna go with my highlight being the coma girl sequence.
Okay.
She's waking up from the coma and then bringing the doctor's chart to Sam to be like, look, I'm just me. Call CPS. I think we're more or less okay with our standard call on John. There's nothing like we've learned in this episode that we need to add to our report. CPS. There's no additional. Maybe not CPS, but like we should still get like some like child therapist in for the Lilith vessel that got abandoned. Just like small. She like maybe looked like she was 10. Maybe we should just like make sure she's okay, but like we don't need to call CPS. Like that was not her parents' fault. She got possessed by Lilith. Firing squad, people who did not perform their job duties. There's not a lot of this in the episode really, but like I feel like maybe it should be harder for Anna to break out of the psychiatric care center. Anna used superpowers, but there's got to be other people that are in this hospital that are capable of knocking out one nurse and then just walking out. It's got to be harder than that.
And now that you've mentioned that, I'm thinking of like the potential fight scene we could have had that would have just made Anna seem even more like an anomaly.
Yeah, like
that would have been fun.
But like it's just got to be harder than that for like people to get out of this place because like there are going to be people in this place who don't want to be here.
Oh, exactly.
It's got to be more difficult. I mean, maybe they just like didn't think Anna was violent, so they didn't bother taking any of those other measures. But she did seem like really over medicated, as we said. So I don't know. I just feel like it should be harder to get out. Even if you do manage to knock out the one nurse bringing you meds, you shouldn't be able to just walk out after.
It should be harder.
And she was clearly in patient clothes as well. So like,
she just walked away.
There's no guard stations, no locked doors, no nothing. It's just like, you can make it out of the room.
Decision.
It should be harder. It should be harder, and you're totally right. And I really want that scene now. Like, I think it would be really cool to watch her break out of the hospital and just scare the audience.
There should be more staff, I think, is the thing. It's not so much that people didn't do their job, it's that there isn't enough staff available to do their job. We should be funding these hospitals better.
We should.
Mental health check. I'm not a psychologist. This segment is based purely on my own opinions. Weekly reminder, if you're struggling with anything at all, please reach out for help. This week was a big old red flag regarding mental health. We're going to skip Anna for now because her mental illness is actually just like supernatural shit. So it's not even mental illness. So we're not going to worry about it.
Sam, on the other hand, he's doing great.
That is not well.
I also think we should just skip over Dean. I don't have much to say about Dean as far as mental health goes. I think that he's just kind of like managing new information. I think he's doing okay. But Sam is clearly in crisis for the majority of this episode. Openly suicidal at various points, putting himself into harmful situations as a result. And this is why he was supposed to stay with Bobby after Dean died. He was supposed to stay with Bobby so that when he was doing this insane shit, like being really drunk or being like digging up crossroads and shit, like Bobby was supposed to be there. Sam's in a really bad place. I don't know how, like what else there is really to say aside from like Sam's suicidal and it's not good.
I feel like it was very parallel to like Mystery Spot, so it kind of like gives you more of an indication as to like, you know, where his head was going to. And
thing like that Mystery Spot flashback was technically longer than Dean actually was dead for, when Dean actually did end up dying permanently. Like Sam lived through that 6 months and like went pretty off the rails then too. So I feel like this really is consistent with that. Like it's the exact same thing. Like Sam didn't want to keep living. He just wanted to hunt down the trickster the trickster. I forgot where we were for a second.
Yeah.
Trickster,
Sam just wants to hunt down the trickster, and he doesn't really care about anything else. And then this is basically the same thing as just Lilith in place of the trickster. Like, Sam doesn't care about living. He just wants to find Lilith and like maybe die in the process.
Yeah, of self-sacrificing and all that other stuff.
Self-sacrifice for Dean and get Dean back. Not good.
Not surprising, but not good.
No.
Soul transactions. Sam tried to do one in this episode, but not all Winchester souls are created equal. One John for one Dean for one Sam for absolutely nothing. The demons don't want him. Maybe because they don't need to buy Sam's soul. I will posit this. We know that Sam's using his powers, and the angels at the very least are like, he should not be using these powers. They're not good. Do you think the angels aren't, or the demons aren't interested in buying Sam's soul? Not because like they just like want to fuck with Sam, but also because like they don't need to buy Sam's soul. Like, he's just gonna go to hell anyway.
Well, also we've already established that he was supposed to lead like a demon army.
Yeah. Do you think the demons are just like, we're not gonna pay for something we already have, you know?
Oh yeah.
Sam's destined for us anyways.
Why buy the cow when you could get the milk for free? Why would we buy your soul, Sam, when you're doing such a good job of fucking it up yourself?
Yeah, we do know, we don't know a lot of details about like how souls go to heaven or hell. Like, we do know for sure if you sell your soul, you're going to hell. We don't know a lot beyond that, like how you get to not hell. Like, what happens if you don't sell your soul? We don't know what happens to ghosts after ghosts have been dealt with. We don't know if the number of people that ghosts kill before some hunter comes along and like sends them on. Like, we don't know what that, we just don't know anything about like what happens. But it does feel like, you know, it has been pretty well like set up, the like some sort of virtuing, like a certain level of virtue gets you into heaven and a lack of virtue gets into hell. And I feel like Sam's really just like doing some like insanely bad shit that like maybe the demons just don't need to buy his soul. Maybe it's fine. He's just, I don't want to ever think about Sam being quote unquote bad enough to go to hell, but like I do actually feel like in the like way that angels and demons measure badness, like maybe Sam using his powers is enough to get him barred from heaven.
Maybe all of Azazel's special children are marked for hell anyway.
I mean, he already has the demon blood in him, regardless of what else is happening. Like, he's had the demon blood in him his whole life, so like maybe it doesn't actually matter.
Maybe that's just why they're like, it's fine.
Because
he's always
Sam's
gonna go
like
there
actively trying to sell his soul pretty hard, and nothing's happening.
I would be really interested to read the terms and conditions of demon soul transactions.
I think there isn't enough physical contract.
But can the demon refuse if you are making an offer of your soul
Clearly,
for X? But I just don't think it should be that way. I don't think that should be an option.
I'd like to know.
It's an option in real life. If you're trying to sell something, then the person you're trying to sell it to always has the option of refusing if they think it's a bad deal.
I don't think it's going to be in the individual contracts. I think that's a policy. Like, it's like your boss, like, you know, like where you have like a
it's company policy.
Yeah, it's company policy to accept all deals.
Yeah, because it makes no sense.
That would make sense if Sam's already supposed to go to hell. That would make sense because they wouldn't give Sam something if it's something they're already gonna have, but they also like probably wouldn't refuse a deal. Maybe just dealing with the Winchesters though is enough reason not to fucking sell to them. Like, maybe like as a general rule they don't say fucking no, but like because like the demons we've seen have been pretty shameless. Like Bella was a child who was in an abusive home, and like they're just like, yeah, sure, you can sell your soul. You're not old enough to vote or or buy alcohol, but you can definitely sell your soul for all eternity to get out of an abusive household. So it feels like they aren't super scrupulous about like where and when deals get made. So it does feel like maybe it's just like specifically the Winchesters that like there's like, you know what, not making a deal with them is actually more fucking annoying to them or like more devastating.
Yeah.
The demon also mentioned that they liked Dean where he was, so maybe that was part of it. Like if we sell to Sam, we'll be losing this.
Yeah. It's not worth it, especially if Sam's like not actually needing to sell his soul to go to hell. Like, it's not worth it.
No, exactly, because in this case it's just the buyer thinking this is a bad deal, I'm not going to take it.
Yeah, they do have Dean where they want him, which is the other thing. Sam's traumatic brain injury. Sam's head's oddly fine in this episode. Usually if they chuck Sam down some stairs and out of a second story window, he'd have a head trauma, but he was Gucci. He was good.
Physically, his head's fine.
Head's fine. He's got some mental health issues, fine, but like he didn't get knocked out once this whole episode.
Oh, goodness.
Good for him.
It's super good. Even it turns out you don't even get KO'd if you jump out of the second story of the church.
Yeah, Dean's got a dislocated shoulder. Sam's got like one cut that's bad enough for us to see him getting stitches. Like
broken legs. Who's heard of them? Nope. Probably fine.
Broken ribs. Just broken pride.
Yeah, they didn't break any bones like on landing. Like no ankles, no wrists, nothing. It's like didn't catch themselves. They somehow a full body absorbed that impact. Anyways, eyes off the hostages. This whole episode was a series of eyes off the hostages moments of stuffing Anna into closets. Luckily, Ruby can go / take Anna wherever, whenever, so it wasn't really an issue. But yeah, so it wasn't like a full on like eyes off the hostages and something happened moment. But there was a lot of Anna is a hostage basically, and we are just gonna keep shoving her into closets and hope for the best while we're busy.
I just love the idea of treating her like a vacuum cleaner.
I mean, really,
just putting her away.
That's really funny.
One time with Cass, it's 0-0 this week. The one scene that Cass was in, he brought Uriel to have a group chat. So no side conversations with Sam or Dean.
I want to chat, but you brought your stupid brother.
Sam and Cass have not had a one-on-one scene together yet. It has not happened yet. And we're 9 episodes into having Cass, but that's okay. There's time. Cass's powers. He blew the fuck off that door. Not a new power per se. Like it's really the same power as like the lifting the roof off the barn in the OG barn scene, but it's enough to declare that dramatic entrance is a power / skill that Cass possesses.
I think he puts extra thought into
dramatic entrances. I agree.
I would do that if I had his powers and his
if you have
coat.
The power.
It's like,
yeah, if you have the power of the trench coat,
when you can just
fucking blow it off.
Yeah, blow it off. So then we have our next segment, which is name that episode. Anybody have any name suggestions for this episode?
The one where Sam gets laid. It happens so infrequently that it deserves the whole episode name to itself.
It's gotten laid before this though, so the one where he gets laid again.
Yeah, there you go. The sequel, the one where he gets laid again.
Part 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Anyone else have any suggestions? Or Carly, do you have additional suggestions?
The one with Angel Radio.
I just kept going back to the one with the French fries because the French fries were a big thing for Ruby, so I just kept thinking about that because French fries wouldn't go out of my brain. So
the one where Ruby wants French fries.
Yeah.
I'm writing
really
those
badly.
That's fair.
Similar to Meredith, I also had the one with the Angel Radio girl. I also had the one where Ruby recycles.
I like that one.
The one where Sam has sex with a demon. And the one where Jared hooks up with his future wife.
It's his favorite season as well. I can't think why.
Yeah, it definitely has nothing to do with meeting the woman he was going to have 3 children with.
Jensen gives him so much shit about it, like on all panels. When they're like, what was your favorite season to film? And he's like, and Jensen straight in, not the one where you met your wife. I like the one where I met my wife.
That's fair, though. It's fair.
I do like when it's either like not the one where you met your wife, like specifically excluded, or like if they don't specifically exclude it, sometimes Jensen will also say if Jared's answer for him.
Yes,
with the reasoning.
With like stupid face.
Yeah. Honestly, Jared's just really lucky that the food poisoning incident didn't happen on the same week, because that was like last episode was the like Jared food poisoning story. He's really lucky that wasn't on a week when he was meeting Jen.
Right.
Which episode was that? Was
the wishing well? Yeah, it's the wishing well.
Oh, when he ate the ribs. Yeah, when he ate the ribs. Yeah,
he's really lucky that wasn't like a Jen on set week.
Yeah,
because that's not gonna impress her.
That would not have endeared her to it. Anyway, to finish off the episode, we have line of the week. Meredith, would you like to start? Do you have one ready to go?
I do. I love the line where Alastair's wearing Alastair's like, don't you recognize me? Oh, I forgot, I'm wearing a pediatrician.
I feel like really when they refer to their vessel like by occupation. Like even Ruby did that in this episode. She's like, Sam's like, who are you wearing? And she doesn't say anything about the person. And she's like, she's a secretary.
Yep.
Like some fast food worker.
Was it Yellow Eyes' OG vessel also a pediatrician?
Maybe they just have a thing for pediatricians.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're inherently good people.
It's the babies to children and babies that they like to eat.
Oh, we went different places there.
Different places.
But it's also funny. It's also funny because I'm just imagining those two characters like as
pediatricians.
Like they're two of the creepiest vessels we've seen so far.
Yeah, and I'm like pretty sure that was what Frederick Lane's like character, like human. We never see him as a human, but like I'm like pretty sure that he was supposed to be a pediatrician as well.
That's just hilarious to me, like talking like that with that voice to a 7-year-old.
Oh man.
Actually, I think with Alastair, that's not his actor's natural voice because I've seen him in a few other places and he talks very differently there. So I think it was partly a voice that he was just doing.
It's weird though, because like the other actor, that is kind of just his voice.
Yeah.
And like and maybe when they recast, they specifically look for someone who could do that voice, and they're like, oh, this guy's voice is close. I don't know.
Hermione's just already like that. It's like Christopher Heyerdahl or something. He's been in a bunch of other places.
Yeah, Chris Heyerdahl's, that's his actual voice.
Carly, you haven't gone yet, right? I didn't. He's just Meredith.
No.
That one. Okay, good.
Just Meredith. Mine was actually the same line. I forgot I'm wearing a pediatrician.
I think it's a good line.
It is, yeah, it is.
Sandra, how about you?
I went with, and your dean, the dean. That was my favorite line. I really like that.
Mine is actually from the Nameless Crossroads demon. It's you want to make a deal, and round the Winchesters go. Sorry, Sam, that's not going to happen.
That was a good line.
Just because, it really sunk in. Like, how, for me, that was when I went, oh, all of the Winchesters except for Sam have made a deal up to this point. Like, this is what the Winchesters do. This is what the Winchesters are known for now. Like, it doesn't matter that they've been like out here like fucking slaying monsters left and right for 20 years. They're the dudes that make deals.
Yeah,
they're the family that like fucks with the natural order.
Yeah.
And like it's becoming a joke. It's like it's undermining their reputation as being scary at this point.
Yeah,
like they're being seen as pathetic for it. I was like, oh, that is hitting me. It's really hitting me, and it really hit me this time around. I was it's like we have the added context now. Like Mary also made a deal. Like it's not just John and Dean that have made deals. Mary also, we now know, has made a deal in the past with the demon. Like it's really getting out of hand.
I'd interpreted that line a different way though. I interpreted it less so with the family background and more that, oh, Sam was going to trade his soul for Dean. Dean would come back, immediately trade his soul for Sam, and it would just continue the cycle.
We would just be locked in that forever. That would be the show.
Exactly. Yeah. I didn't say it that way, but yeah, I also like meant that. That
both, all of the
above. Like that was it was like this is like what the Winchesters do now.
They like self-sacrifice like a lot.
And like there's no stopping. We have had conversations about how many times you could do that for each other, and like it does seem to be up to the demons. But again, what's the corporate policy on that? What is the company's policy on how many times can you resell your soul? I think once, maybe twice, and get away with it. But I think like once each, because like then after that you've both sold your soul. Like you've committed your soul to hell at that point. Like you don't get to undo that.
It's probably like several times where demons are just like, okay, this is getting excessive.
Yeah, it's like, how the value of a car goes down every time. It's just like
the value of a soul. That's what the whole soul transaction thing is. Because at the end of the show, I want to be able to be like, okay, aside from the Winchesters, but like for the average other people who are making deals in the show, what the fuck can I buy with a soul? It seems like I can buy. I want to know. I want to be able to say like definitively, I can get XYZ for the value of a new shiny human soul.
You can get 17 butterflies.
I want to figure out its exact value. But anyway, that's all I have for this week. So, Meredith, where can people find you?
With the 17 butterflies at Shades of Deianira at Tumblr, Instagram, and sometimes TikTok. And if you go there, there's lots of really cool drawings for the fantasy series I'm writing.
Woo! Excellent. And Sandra and Carly, do you want to go together? Do you want to go separately?
You want me to go?
Yeah, you do all the things because you're good.
Okay.
No, because Sandra's got to listen over the fucking hour of shit she needs to tell you about to find her.
Editing KJ here one last time, and I just want to pop and say Casey's social medias also have changed, and you can find them at Sam is my safe word on both Tumblr and AO3. On Tumblr it is dashes between the words, and on AO3 it is underscores between the words, but it's Sam is my safe word on both of those places.
Sandra, where can people find you?
Well, I mean, you can find both of us if you just go to idlingintheimpala.com. You'll get all of our information that way. But if they're interested in my AO3, I'm under Drasna. It's just Sandra mixed up. And then on Tumblr, I'm Tall Tales and Bedtime Stories. So yeah, I won't bother with Twitter because I don't use it that much anymore anyway. But we still have a Twitter account, and it's all on the idlingintheimpala.com website. Yeah.
Excellent. I will definitely make sure I link your website for sure in the episode description.
That is why right at the start, when I went, we don't do shit, I co-host, she does stuff, because I didn't even think about repping the podcast.
That's pretty much our relationship.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Next week, we're going to be back to talk about season 4, episode 10, Heaven and Hell, and finish off this, because yeah, it's really just like an unfinished episode.
I've been KJ, and this has been Supernatural Opinions. If you enjoyed our show, the best thing you can do is subscribe on your podcast app of choice and tell a friend. Check out our link tree in the episode description for all of our social media and any other Supernatural-related projects we might be working on. Send us an email. Our address is supernaturalopinionspodcast@gmail.com, or reach out directly at KJ, at @KJ on all platforms. Thank you to Joe Veretta for our theme song, and our logo was created by Faith Ebert of faithanddesigns.ca. The episode was recorded, edited, and produced by me, Ed and KJ. If you want to hear more from me, you can check out my other podcast, Series of Opinions. And last but not least, a huge thank you to all of our guests.